Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jessica Sachs, and I'm thrilled to be here for another year of ViteConf. I'm a senior software engineer at Ionic, which is a company focused on building open source developer tools for web devs that want to ship mobile apps. That might be you. I started my career in 2012 building and testing native iOS apps. And I stayed in mobile until 2015, when I switched to web tech and got involved in the Vue community and ecosystem. Because Vue and Vite were both created by Evan, I was exposed to Vite very early on, I think version 0.13. In early 2020, I joined Cypress full-time to build open source developer tools and led the Cypress Component Testing project. After I left Cypress, I wound up at Ionic working on the intersection of my favorite things, web tech, mobile, and open source dev tools. So for the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you my favorite thing at Ionic, Ionic Capacitor, which allows you to take just about any web technology and put it on a phone or a tablet. So what is Ionic Capacitor? It's a tool to help you ship web tech as mobile apps. It works with greenfield projects, but more impressively, it works almost seamlessly with large existing code bases. Capacitor is also forgiving to any legacy or necessary technology choices that your codebase might have taken. For example, if you're working in Vue, Svelte, Solid.js, Angular, vanilla JavaScript, React, or a Frankenstein mix of these frameworks, Ionic Capacitor has got your back. So what is Ionic Capacitor technically? Technically, Ionic Capacitor is built on top of WebVueUse, but it also provides a native bridge. You can use the platform-specific bridge if you need to, but Ionic Capacitor already has a thriving plugin ecosystem to do things like native keyboard dismissal or push notifications. These plugins are cross-platform, and the code is universal, which means that you can write a single line of code to handle native behaviors, and it'll work on all platforms. We also ship a beautiful VS Code extension to help you find all of these plugins. So, in addition to supporting many web frameworks, Capacitor also supports different team compositions. You can have both native and web developers working on the same Capacitor app in the same codebase in their languages of choice. This means you can have Android developers writing Java and Kotlin, and iOS developers writing Swift or Objective-C, while you're also writing JavaScript. So everybody gets what they want. That's the short answer. Everybody gets what they want. Any framework, any front-end framework, any native bindings you want. What isn't Ionic Capacitor? So for those of us who have had the joy of working with Cordova, Ionic Capacitor is compatible with Cordova plugins, and both use WebVueUse, but they're not the same thing. I get that question a lot. And what does this have to do with Vite? Well, because Capacitor is just built using web technologies, all we need to do with Vite is point Capacitor's own local development server to the Vite dev server, and we're off to the races with one of the best developer experiences the modern web has to offer. Let me show you. So we'll start with Vitesse, which is a GitHub starter template and my favorite way to start a Vite project. It's created and maintained by Anthony Fu, and ships Vue 3 as its front-end framework of choice, though there are other versions that ship different front-end frameworks. I like Vitesse because it comes with just enough batteries included. It has a file-based router with dynamic routes. It has internationalization as well as dark mode built in. And most importantly for me, it has Uno CSS, which is similar to Tailwind, but was built for Vite, built for speed. Here's what it looks like. It's a very simple page, has a home page here. with an input and a few icon buttons that support dark mode and light mode and internationalization. So, what is my name? Jessica. And here's a demo of the route. Hi, Jessica. Cool. So let's put this on a phone using Ionic Capacitor. It's really simple. So throughout this demo, I'm going to be using Bun as my package manager of choice instead of PNPM, which is what Vitesse usually recommends, because Bun is new and shiny. And actually really cool. I've really been enjoying it. Okay, so Bun add at capacitor CLI. You can init and set up this whole project using 5 CLI commands and 1 settings option. So let's add capacitor, and we'll get a binary. Cap is what it's called for short, or capacitor if you like typing words. Bun cap init should get us going with a config file. Let's name it ViteConf is the name of our app. And it wants a package ID. Let's use the default one because we're doing a demo. This is the config file that's initialized in the root of your project. Let's add iOS as a target output platform. We could also add Android, but I don't have the emulator installed. Bun cap add iOS should do the trick. Really nice. And then you'll see that iOS is here. This is kind of the ejected version of where you would do your iOS development. You can see a git ignore over here. And let's go and add the localhost URL for Vite. So let's do bun dev to open up Vite locally. The Vue dev tools are open. Really cool if you've never seen them. Highly recommend. And we can see that we're on localhost 3333. Really nice. My name is Jess. I'm going to hit go. Seems like everything is working. Let's take this local URL and the local dev server and pop it over in our capacitor config under URL, which is a dev-only option for use with, guess what? Live reloading development servers. So localhost 3333. Let's hit save. And without Vite, or without a hot reload server, we would have to rebuild all of our changes using dist. And the iOS folder would pull those down, and that's kind of slow. We don't want to do that. So this server URL is going to be very helpful for us. I'm going to do bun cap iOS sync. Bun cap sync iOS. And then you'll see that we get a very nice, bun cap open iOS. Get a very nice Xcode project with a play button ready for clicking. And we're going to build. Build succeeded. And we get some logs down here. You can start to see that Vite has connected and the web view is loaded. So let's tab back over. ViteConf, what is your name? Jess. Hit go. We get our dynamic route. We get our dark mode. We get some I18N. And now we can start to do things like fix our little guy here, or, oh, there's a issue with clicking too quickly. And this is an iOS only issue with minimum and maximum scale. So the default index.html of our Vite template does not define a minimum and maximum scale. And when the body and HTML font size on iOS is less than 16 pixels, clicking like this quickly zooms. So let's go ahead and add the minimum and maximum scale in. You can see that the index.html has already loaded from Vite's wicked fast server, and the bug is already fixed. this is how fast it is to work on Capacitor and Vite together. And this could be any front-end framework. This isn't a Vue-specific project. This isn't, you can put most anything in here. And it even has the Vue dev tools, which are not mobile responsive, so I do not suggest you playing around with them. Let's see, let's play with it. It's all right. In theory, you could actually debug your mobile application using the Vue dev tools here. But it's neither here nor there. That is a wicked fast demo of what it's like to develop a mobile application using Vite and Capacitor. I think that's all I have for today.